Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Claire Byrne, and I am the Community Manager for RSA US. On behalf of Aisha and Anisha, I'd like to thank you all for joining us for this month's US Salon, Immune Systems and Systems of Change, a discussion and yoga practice. So before we get started, I'd like to give a little background on the RSA US, and cover some ground rules about today's event. Founded in the UK, RSA stands for the Royal Society for the Encouragement of the Arts, Manufactures and Commerce, and has been uniting people and ideas to resolve the challenges of our time since 1754. Today, the Society exists as an international fellowship-driven think tank committed to providing an independent platform for research and debate on contemporary issues and topics. Of the 30,000 fellows spread out around the globe, about 1,100 live and work here in the United States, including Aisha. RSA US exists to coordinate fellowship activities in the United States with an aim towards moving the needle on addressing the inequities of our society. So before I turn things over to our event host, Aisha Fukushima, FRSA, to introduce our featured speaker for today, I'd like to cover some ground rules about today's events. So first things first, this event is being recorded, and I'd like that with you. The chat is available for you to raise points of clarification, and please don't hesitate to use the chat. All come from different backgrounds, cultures, countries, and if something is unfamiliar to you, just please do reach out. You can text or you can chat to me directly via the RSA US events Zoom account. Be respectful, that's always a given, but use language that your mother or your mum would approve of. And we will use the chat to collate your questions for the Q&A portion of this event, which will be taking place at the start of the event. So feel free to ask questions along the way. Also, just an FYI, don't feel obliged to keep your camera on during this session and during the yoga practice specifically. Get comfortable and enjoy. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to Aisha. Aisha Fukushima is a performance lecturer, a justice strategist, singer-songwriter, and rap activist. Fukushima founded Raptivism, a hip-hop project spanning 20 countries and 4 continents, amplifying universal efforts for freedom and justice. She is a multilingual, multiracial African-American Japanese woman who's delivered lectures and performances everywhere from the United States to France, Morocco, Japan, South Africa, Senegal, India, Kazakhstan, and beyond. Fukushima's Raptivism work has been featured on Oprah Magazine, TEDx, the Seattle Times, TV2M Morocco, and the Bangalore Mirror, to name but a few. She's shared stages with the likes of Bernie Sanders, Emory Douglas, KRS-One, Herbie Hancock, Christian McBride, the Isley Brothers, and M1. As a public speaker, Aisha combines the art of performance and lecture. Her work links themes such as hip-hop, global citizenship, empowerment, feminism, and cultural activism through storytelling as well as live musical performance. You can learn more about Aisha Fukushima at aishafukushima.com, and I will share her details in the chat box in a minute. Now, without further ado, over to Aisha.
Hey y'all, I hope that this finds you well. It's so good to be in this space. So thank you all for joining. Please feel free to pop into the chat and just share one word that describes how you're feeling today in this very moment. There are no right or wrong answers. As my friends at Youth Speaks say, the standard is yourself. It's good to check in with one another. Without much further ado, it would be a pleasure to be able to introduce Anisha. Anisha is a first-generation Indian-American queer yoga instructor in the Philadelphia region. She has been studying yoga since 2010 and teaching since 2014 in studios, universities, and her communities. Prior to teaching, she has been a cancer researcher working in immunology and therapeutics. She has also extensively trained in dance, focused mainly in classical ballet throughout her career. Connecting and sharing yoga has been the greatest bridge of all her interests, and she is truly thrilled to connect with practitioners all around the world, especially during this last year. Outside of yoga, Anisha splits her time between Philadelphia and Central New Jersey, troubleshooting house projects and spending time with her partner and pups. Let's give a warm round of applause to Anisha. Hey, Anisha. On a side note, I've just had the greatest pleasure to be able to practice with Anisha in Philly. Shout out to the Philly RSA network. I'm honored to be able to help be an ambassador. And I hope that many of you who are in the Philly area will be able to join Anisha virtually and in all the spaces that Anisha is doing incredible work. How are you doing today? Anisha, how's it going?
I'm so thrilled to be here. Somebody who doesn't usually practice yoga in the morning where I am, it's a nice shift in perspective to get up and actually practice.
Yay. Oh, wonderful. Well, if it's okay with everyone, I would love to jump in with a few questions before we move into some actual physical movement. So, if that sounds good, the first question I had is that you have such an incredible journey of being a yoga teacher who has also worked as a cancer researcher, trained extensively in classical ballet, you do quilting, and much more. And I'm curious if you could tell us a bit more about your journey, what brought you here today, and the people who've inspired your journey along the way.
Yes, thank you. A great question. I wish I could say when I was in it, I knew exactly what I was doing throughout the course of time, but there's nothing quite like retrospection and seeing how you've got to where you are to make some common threads. So for years, I worked in labs. I worked in the cancer research field in immunology and therapeutics. But I found it to be really as much collaboration as there was. You spend a lot of time alone in a clean room and in a lab and just looking at cells. So I would often take yoga classes or dance classes as my form of exercise, as my form to create space for myself to take care of my own mental health.
Mm.
And after many, many years, I realized that actually interacting with human beings, either virtually or in person, was so much more fulfilling than being in a clean room by myself, no matter what the impact was of the work. So I was lucky enough to be able to pivot from lab work to yoga teaching pretty successfully. And now here we are.
Thank you. Wow. That's so powerful. And I think it's really inspiring to hear about those pivots and also being open to adapting and noticing what kind of makes us feel alive. That is a powerful practice. I'm curious what has kept you healthy and feeling grounded during the pandemic. If you have any hints or tips for the participants, I think we would all appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the understatement is just remembering what you love to do, what really lights you up. It can be movement, it can be connecting with loved ones via FaceTime or Skype, even if we can't be close. But this past year, especially, it's been so hard to remember a few things that brought us so much joy in the before time. So being able to reconnect, even if it feels different when you're not doing it amongst people or when you're not necessarily doing your hobbies the same way that you would before, I think it's still so important to try and remember those now. And then the nice thing that you've so beautifully done in the introduction is that the pandemic has really opened at least my world to people beyond Philadelphia. So I get to take classes with people who don't necessarily live in the vicinity, to be able to do things that I never would have done had this virtual life not been an option. So kind of exploring the depths of the internet and finding things that bring you joy and doing something completely new is a great thing. I think that'll really help take care of us as we continue to move forward.
Mm. Ooh, thank you, Anisha. Given the ongoing pandemic, there's a lot of talk about immunity, and I'm curious if you could break down for us what immunity is and how it works in the body, and also if there are any common misconceptions about immunity out there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a funny thing where a global pandemic happened. None of us maybe necessarily know a lot of the details of how it came to be, especially last March and right in the beginning. And so we quickly turned to Google, to see what's there, which is both a delight and can sometimes offer a lot of pitfalls. So a tiny shameless plug as a proud kid, my dad, who is a lifelong immunologist, he's actually on the Indian vaccine task force to help develop how the vaccines work there. He just wrote a book like last week. It came out, and we had one copy that the publisher sent to us. And it's my gentle, shameless plug for his amazing book. It's called Good Genes Gone Bad. I don't know if you can see the mirror copy of it. But he's been writing it for 2 years, and I was like, that's cool, Dad, that you're writing a book. And now that I'm actually holding it in my hand, I'm like, you wrote a real life book that I can put in my bookshelf next to like the Obama biography. So we hold him in high regards here. But you know, I think the last thing that I really just want to say about immunity is that we are all much stronger than we think we are. Like the body has so many systems in place already to take care of ourselves, to combat the daily things that we fight. So inherently, the immune system is a complex but very intelligent system that has the capacity to really adapt to any new circumstances that we find ourselves with, especially in the pandemic. Like it's all there deep within us.
Mm. Ooh, that's powerful. I'm excited to dive into this practice. I know the time is urging us to move into some movement, and I hope that I can already see the threads of some of what we've already started talking about flowing into the practice, and remembering that this is truly a community, a collective practice, that our health is interconnected, which we knew before the pandemic, but I think it's been a strong reminder, at least for me. And I hope that this community practice is a way of us bringing buoyancy, joining our strengths in how, in exactly what you're talking about, that resilience that is part of our immune systems. And hopefully that we can be there for one another and further building that, or further amplifying that wellness, so to speak. So without much further ado, I want to hand it over to you, Anisha, and I'm going to hop onto the mat, so I'll turn off my camera shortly.
Thank you. So today, if you're comfortable, like Claire had said so sweetly beforehand, you can keep your videos off. You're more than welcome to keep them on, but we're going to do a small, quick, full body practice. So if you have a yoga mat or a sticky mat or some space in your home or in your office to create some room for yourself, that'll be great. Water is always helpful. And before we begin, I just want to preface it with everything that I offer is just that. It's an offering. It's never an obligation. So if at any point you need to modify or spectate or hydrate, I really invite you to take care of yourself and do what your body is asking you to do, because in the long term, that's what's going to be the most sustainable and the most helpful for each and every one of us. So if any questions come up, if anything doesn't feel correct, or if anything that I offer, you have any curiosities about, feel free to type it into the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that come up throughout the practice or even after. And let's get started. So today we're actually going to start just a comfortable seat, however that looks for you. I like to sit up on blocks or pillows just to give my hips a little bit of extra height. But you might sit cross-legged, you might sit on your knees, you might even let your legs stretch out in front of you. But take a moment to find a tall spine and just close or soften your eyes. Anytime we close our eyes in the beginning of practice, but especially this practice, it's an opportunity to see ourselves so much more clearly than before. To see ourselves, to hear the breath, and to receive every aspect of ourselves in every dimension that it brings. So as you take a moment to just listen for your breath, start to breathe in through the nose and let it fill up your belly. Send it down into the depths of your being. And on your exhale, stretch the breath up and out through the very crown of your head. See if you can grow taller and more spacious with each breath. A few more rounds just at your pace, breathing three-dimensionally, letting the belly expand, filling up into the lungs and sending the breath into the chest. And as you exhale, try to keep the lift through the spine. Just let your shoulders and even your jaw soften. We'll start our practice here with one another with 3 more rounds of just that breath. So when you're ready, just place your hands to anywhere that feels like center for you. maybe in front of your heart in a gesture called Anjali Mudra. Maybe they come somewhere on your person. But take a deep breath in to fill yourself up. And even open your mouth to let it go. Two more times, just on your own. At the bottom of your breath, pause for a moment. Just feel the difference that comes by simply listening for your breath. Now, keeping that attention as best as you can gently release your hands, blink those eyes open, and let's meet in tabletop today, coming onto your hands and knees, just to begin with a few rounds of cat and cow, linking breath and movement. So as you set up in tabletop, try to spread your fingers nice and wide, tuck or untuck your toes, remember your feet back behind you. And now going at your pace, you can inhale to arch, dropping the belly, lifting the hips and chin. And exhale to round into cow pose, lifting the belly to the sky as your head gets heavy to the earth. We'll go for 3 more rounds of breath, just at your pace. You can stay arched or rounded. If you'd like to stay in the arched or rounded shape for an extra breath or 2, go for it. You might even take these breaths to get a little bit more serpentine, drawing the right hip to the right shoulder and breathing into the left side of your body and vice versa. Just enjoy these first few moments to really harmonize breath and body here together. Take 1 more round just at your pace, filling yourself all the way up and letting every drop of that breath go. When you're ready, we'll find our way back to table, more of a neutral spine. And I want to just bring us into an early calf stretch to open up through the backs of the legs. So you'll keep your hands and shoulders as they are, and just stretch the right leg back behind you, tucking the right toes under. As you reach back through the right heel, notice what you feel in the back of the leg, the back of the knee, and even in the back of the thigh. Just take a breath here, big breath in, let the belly expand. And just stay for your exhale. Can you press the ears back in space just to keep the chin lifting away from the chest? Okay, same thing on the other side. Bend your right knee and stretch the left leg back behind you. And as you reach back through the left heel, can you slide the very top of your head, the crown of your head forward to grow longer? A breath more, big breath in, and let it all out. Then when you're ready, soften that left knee, come back into tabletop, and we'll meet in downward facing dog for a moment. So you can walk your hands forward of your shoulders. The knees can come slightly behind your hips. And as those toes tuck under and you stretch your hips to the sky, take a few breaths here. If at any point down dog doesn't feel sustainable or it doesn't feel restful, you can always just lower the knees to the floor and breathe here. But wherever you are, in table or in down dog, breathe. Big breath in and let all of the breath go. Okay, from your down dog, we'll all lift both heels, soften your knees, and 1 foot at a time, start to walk those feet up towards your palms to come into our first forward fold of class. I saw that some folks in England and Europe were saying it was nice and cold today. It's pretty cold here in Philadelphia too. So if the backs of the legs feel a little tighter than we expect, let the knees bend as much as they need to so that your hands can touch the floor. Let your head be nice and heavy. Feel your entire spine grow longer. And just enjoy that full force of gravity, letting your entire spine be heavy to the earth. Take a deep breath in. Stay for the exhale. And now we'll climb those hands to the hips, stand down through the feet, and big inhale to come all the way up to stand. and release your hands. I'm going to talk us through a round of these Surya Namaskars, these sun salutations. So just follow your pace and not my voice. As you breathe in, stretch both of those arms up to the sky, get nice and tall. And on your exhale, fold and bow down to the earth. Inhale to come up halfway, so hands to the shins as you lift up through the chest. And on your exhale, we'll meet in plank pose. Plant your palms and walk those feet all the way back. Your knees can be lifted. They might lower down to the earth, but take a breath. Push through the palms as you lift up through the chest. And now on your exhale, bend your elbows and lower fully down to your belly. For cobra pose, stretch the legs behind you. Bring your palms as wide as your mat and inhale to gently lift up through the chest. Take a big breath in, squeeze those shoulder blades together. And on your exhale, we'll meet again in downward facing dog or tabletop, yogi's choice. 2 breaths, just at your pace. Breathe in through the nose to fill up that belly. And with every exhale, even open your mouth to let it go as you press through your palms to stretch your hips to the sky. At the bottom of your breath, take your time. We lift the heels again, soften your knees, and come on forward to the top of your mat, Uttanasana, that forward fold. Inhale to lengthen halfway, lift up through the chest, maybe the hands slide up to the shins. And on your exhale, fold and bow down to the ground. Big breath in to rise up, stretch those arms to the sky, grow an inch taller. And on your exhale, release, hands down by your side. Beautiful. We're going to come in for an early side stretch. So you can stay where you are with your feet under your hips. And on your inhale, stretch both of those arms up to the sky. We'll grab onto the right wrist or the right forearm. And as you stretch up through the right fingertips, start to lean to the left for a pose called standing crescent. Take a moment to breathe into the right side of your body. And as you stretch over to the left, can you just slide the ears back in space to keep the chin lifted? Now inhale to come all the way up through center. Release your hands. You can shake or shimmy it out to reset. And then other side, both arms go all the way up. Grab that left wrist. Inch taller, reach up through the fingertips, and now lean over to the right, other side. Breathing here into the left side of your body, in the hip, the lungs, the shoulder. And as you lean to the right, just slide the skull and the ears back to keep the chin lifted. Big inhale to come all the way back up. Stretch those arms to the sky. And as you exhale, fold and bow down to the ground. You're going to plant your hands to the top of your mat, walk your feet to the back of your mat so we can meet in downward facing dog. Stretch those hips to the sky. Now on your breath, inhale to plank, the top of your push-up. Big exhale to lower all the way down to the belly. One more time, cobra pose, bhujangasana. Inhale to lift up through the chest. Hug those shoulder blades together. And on your breath out, let's meet in downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Take your time to notice what you feel, how it feels, and where you start to feel it. And now from your down dog, let's all lift the right leg up to the sky. Bring your right foot forward in between your hands to catch your lunge. So however the right foot gets there, let it come towards the top of your mat. And let's lower the left knee down to the floor or a blanket if you want some extra padding. Once that back knee is down, climb your hands up onto the right side so we can come into this low lunge shape. And now keeping the right knee pointing straight ahead, stretch both of those arms up towards the sky. We'll find one more side stretch. So hook onto your thumbs, let your palms face forward like you're making these little butterfly wings with your hands. And now as you stretch those fingertips to the sky, start to gently lean over to the right, towards the right leg. Breathe here for a moment. You'll feel the space in the left side of your body. Can you stretch to the right and slide the ears back again? And then maybe bring those arms back in line with your ears to open up through the chest. Let your inhale bring you up through center. Release those hands to the floor. And we'll meet again in downward facing dog. You can step that right foot back to meet your left. And just see what you feel from one side to the other. Okay, some symmetry. Lift the left leg to the sky. Step it through to catch your lunge. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Lower the right knee to the floor or any padding that you need behind the knee. Walk your hands up onto the left thigh so you can come up nice and tall. And now keeping the left knee pointing straight ahead, one last time, arms reach up to the sky and see if you can hook that awkward, goofy thumb on top, the one you didn't do on the first side. Reach up to the sky, grow taller, and now lean over to the left to feel a stretch in the right side of your body. Sometimes those sides feel the same, sometimes they feel a little different, but just do your best to offer it to your breath. Big breath in. And just whisper it out. Let all of the breath go. Inhale to come back through center. Tap your hands to the ground. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. As you pause in your down dog, close your eyes for a moment. And just notice what cannot be seen, but so clearly can be felt from side to side. Big belly breath in. And a longer breath out. Okay, we lift the right leg to the sky once again. Step it through to catch the lunge. And we'll come to this pose called extended side angle. So you'll spin your left heel to the ground, climb your right elbow up onto your right thigh, and maybe the left fingertips stretch straight up towards the ceiling, or you reach the left arm towards the front of your mat. Once you find the general shape of the pose, keep that right knee pointing straight ahead. And now lift and spread all 10 of your toes. See how that helps you feel the muscles in the feet, the calves, even into the legs. Now, without moving the feet anywhere, give them a little hug. Tug the heels towards one another until you feel the muscles in your legs start to stabilize you. And now stretch out through the left fingertips. Reach the crown of your head forward. Take a big breath in. And even open your mouth to let it go. Let the right thigh get a little heavier to the earth. Beautiful. Now changing nothing in the legs. On your inhale, we'll meet in warrior two. Stretch back through the left hand and stack those shoulders right over your hips. Try to keep that right thigh nice and heavy. And on your breath in, reach both of those arms up to the sky. Bend your right elbow to give yourself a pat somewhere on the upper back. And now the left fingertips will hold on to the right elbow. Lift the right elbow an inch towards the sky and press your head back into the forearm to lift your chin. Now you can stay here with the shoulders right over the hips, or we've done a few side stretches already. So if you'd like to gently tip up and back towards that left foot, you definitely can. So take a deep breath in. Stay for the exhale. See if you can let the right thigh get a little bit heavier towards the floor. And now inhale to bring the torso up first, then stretch those arms to a T, and now press that right leg straight. Some relief. We're going to come to triangle pose. So you can bring your right fingertips to the floor or a block if you have a yoga block. You might also bring the right hand onto your shin if the floor feels far away. But let the left hand stretch up towards the ceiling. Now, same thing, to find some stability, you've got to hug the legs towards each other. So you might lift and spread the toes, give the feet a little tug as if the left foot is pulling forward and the right foot is hugging back. And now keeping that, go shoulder blades together. Press the ears back and lean back on the stability of your own legs. Take a deep breath in. Stay for one more exhale. And now inhale to unwind, look to the ground, bring your palms to the earth, and let's meet again in downward facing dog. From here on out, it's always yogi's choice. But at any point, you're more than welcome to lower the knees to the floor for a moment and rest here. You might let your breath carry you through any of these linking vinyasas that we've done together already. Or you might, for a moment, just stay breathing in your down dog. Just choose the choice in between poses that will really help you enhance the full fluency of your breath. Now on your next inhale, we got one more side to do. Stretch the left leg to the sky. Bring it forward to catch your lunge. And for extended side angle, a pose called Parsvokkonasana. Spin the right heel to the ground, left elbow to the thigh, and either right fingertips towards the ceiling, or let the right arm stretch by your ears towards the top of your mat. Give those legs a little hug. Try to hug the feet towards each other. And now with the legs hugging in, go shoulders back, the ears back. Stretch through the right arm and let the left thigh get heavier and heavier to the floor. Breathing, big breath in and a longer breath out. And now the legs stay steady and strong as we inhale to come up to warrior two, shoulders over the hips and keep that left thigh as heavy as it can be. Inhale to stretch those arms all the way up, grow taller. And now bending the left elbow to pat yourself somewhere on the upper back. Let the right hand hold on to the elbow. See if you can grow taller, elbow towards the ceiling, head back into the forearm to lift the chin. And then maybe an option to gently lean back towards that right foot. So take a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. Let the left thigh get heavier to the floor as you lift the left elbow towards the ceiling. Inhale to bring the torso through center, then stretch those arms to a T and press the left leg straight. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Bring your left fingertips to the floor, a block, or your shin as you reach the right arm to the sky. And here, take up as much space as you possibly can through each limb. Hug the legs in towards each other. And now as you slide the shoulders back, the ears back to lean back on the upper back, breathe, full belly breath, and let it all out. When you're ready on your inhalation, look to the ground, plant your palms, and let's meet again in downward facing dog as you stretch those hips nice and high to the sky. And now this time as you inhale, let's all come forward to plank pose for a moment. Find the top of your push-up and exhale to lower fully down to that belly. So there's two things I want to do here down on the ground. First, we're going to come into a pose called locust pose to strengthen all the muscles in the back of the body. So you can stretch your legs behind you, reach your arms alongside of you, and flip your palms down to face towards the floor. Now on your next inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, float your palms up off the earth, and exhale to let the legs lift up off the ground. You don't have to go very high, just take a moment to close your eyes, and once again, try and offer it to that breath. As you spin the inner thighs, the inseams of your pants up towards the sky, let those legs lift up one more inch. And now squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift your palms as high as the shoulders, take a big breath in, and on your exhale, release, let it go, and just rest for a moment. You can rest on your cheek, you might rest on your forehead, you might even wiggle your tush around from side to side to help feel the mid and low back begin to expand. But the more you breathe into your belly, the more space the entire back of your body will start to feel. Okay, after a few breaths, once you've recalibrated, come back through center and let's prop ourselves up onto our forearms so that your elbows just come under your shoulders. So we can come in for a thigh stretch. You're going to bend your right knee and reach your right hand around for your right foot for this pose called half frog or Ardha Bekasana. As your right hand reaches around for the right foot, start to draw your right heel towards your right hip. They don't have to be anywhere near, but feel the hip and heel come closer together. Now shrug the right shoulder up and back to open up through the right side of your chest. And breathe. Big breath in, let the belly expand. Try to stay for the exhale, even lift your chin and your gaze away from the floor. Now inhale to slowly release that leg, take your time. And same thing, just on the other side. So the right forearm will stay down, bend your left knee, and reach the left hand around for the left foot. Begin to draw the left heel towards that hip and shrug the left shoulder up and back to open up through the left side of your chest. Big breath in and a deeper breath out. Beautiful. Let's slowly release that leg. Plant your palms on the mat, tuck your toes, and let's meet up in tabletop. So come up to your hands and your knees and pause for a moment. If you want to drink a sip of water or roll out your wrists or your hands, please feel free to go for it. But the next place I want us to come to, we're going to take a few standing poses. But before we get there, I want to make sure that the ankles and the feet have all the attention that they need. So after you're hydrated, once you've reset, come back onto all fours and look at your legs and see if you can bring your legs all the way together. So thighs to touch, calves, feet to touch. You're going to tuck all 10 of your toes under and start to sit your tush back onto your heels. So you feel the stretch in the arches and the soles of your feet. If at any point this feels like too much sensation, try to keep the toes tucked, but just lift your butt up off of your heels. You'll get the same stretch, just less intensity. And now keeping those toes tucked under, let's reach those arms out to a T, interlace your fingers at your low back, and now start to thread your knuckles towards your right hip or towards your right rib. Big breath in to lift up through the chest. And now as you exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder to feel a stretch in the left side of your neck. And now this is a chance for you to explore. Maybe you find a sweet spot just by staying here. You might gently tuck the chin towards your chest to feel a stretch in the upper back and the back of your neck. You might even, keeping the right ear heavy towards the right shoulder, gently lift the chin away to feel the stretch in that big muscle in the side of the neck itself. Just take a bigger breath in. Stay for the exhale. And now inhale to bring the head up first through center, then release your arms and come on back forward to your tabletop. You can shake out your feet or roll out your ankles to help them reset. But one more time, walk your legs to come as close as they can come together. Heels squeeze together as you point your toes behind you. And this time, as you sit your butt back onto your heels, you'll feel a stretch more in the tops of your feet themselves. Now last one, reach those arms to a T, interlace that awkward thumb or pinky at your low back, and begin to thread your knuckles towards your left hip or towards your left rib. Breathe in to get nice and tall, lift up through the chest, and now drop the left ear towards the left shoulder to feel the stretch in the right side of your neck. Depending on if you're right-handed dominant or left-handed dominant, one side of your neck might feel more or less intense than the other. Just see what you're working with and let your breath really guide the way. Perhaps the chin gently tucks to the chest. Perhaps you lift it away and feel the stretch on the side of the neck. But slow down your inhale and really whisper that breath out. Nice. Inhale to bring the head through center first, then release your arms. Let's meet again in tabletop, and we'll all find our way back to downward facing dog, stretching your hips to the sky. So these last few poses, I want to take us through a series of standing positions. So on your breath, we'll lift the right leg up to the sky, step it forward to catch your lunge. And on your breath in, we'll meet up in high lunge. So keep that back knee lifted. Take your time to reach your arms and your torso up towards the sky. A moment here, can you lift the left heel higher away from the earth, stretch up through the arms, and even lift your chin. Take a deeper breath in. Stay for your exhale. Let that right side get a little heavier towards the earth. Now we'll bring both hands to the hips, tiny bend in the left knee. And as you spring off the left foot, come all the way up to stand, scooping the left thigh to your chest. Now the right hand will stay on your right hip, and let your left hand hold on to the left foot, just like you did on the floor. We're moving towards this pose called baby dancer. Hug the left thigh towards your right thigh, shrug the left shoulder up and back. And now maybe you stay here with your right hand on your hip or some furniture to steady yourself, or an option to stretch the right arm up to the sky. And maybe you begin to kick the foot back into your hand to start to tip your torso forward. So take a deeper breath in wherever you are. Stay for the exhale. And now on your inhale, do your best to rewind. Reach the left arm to the sky, draw the left knee to the nose, and then step the left foot back to catch the lunge. Bring your fingertips to the ground. Let's meet in downward facing dog as you stretch your hips up to the sky. Breathe, yogi's choice. Stay in your down dog. You might lower your knees to the floor and enjoy your breath there, or let your breath cycle you through any of these vinyasas, these flows of movement that we've done together already at your pace. But as you let your next breath or two bring you back to your down dog, let's try the same thing, just on the other side, left leg to the sky. Bring it forward to catch the lunge. And on your inhale, we come up to high lunge for the final round. Lift up through the right heel, stretch all 10 of your fingertips to the sky, even lift your gaze. And now hands can start on those hips, tiny bend in the right knee, take as many little bunny hops or a big leap so you can come up to stand, drawing the right thigh to your chest. Now let the right hand hold on to the right foot or the ankle as we come into baby Natarajasana, that dancer pose. Hug the right thigh towards the left. Bring the right shoulder up and back. Perhaps the left hand stays to steady yourself. You might stretch the left fingertips to the sky, but gently kick the foot back into the hand to start to lift up through the heart. Bigger breath in and a longer exhale out. Now on your next inhale, see if you can rewind. Reach the right arm to the sky, the right knee to your nose, grow even taller. And now step the right foot back to catch your lunge. Hands to the ground, take it back to downward facing dog as you stretch your hips to the sky and just enjoy for a moment the steadiness of having both hands and feet heavy on the earth. Now all together for the final time, we'll all come forward to plank on your breath in. Big exhale to lower fully down to the belly. And take a sweet inhale for cobra. Just enjoy the stretch through the chest, through the lungs, through the heart. And as you exhale, simply lower all the way down to the floor. We're going to flip ourselves over onto our backs. So however you'd like to roll over, like a little pancake, you can flip on over. As you face any direction, once you come onto the floor, let's just take a nice long stretch, reaching your arms and your legs away from each other. You might roll out your wrists or your ankles. You might flex or point your feet, but take a big breath in and a longer exhale out. Okay, to finish off class, we're going to take a few gentle twists here on the floor. So you can bend your knees, bring both feet on the ground, and hug the right knee in towards your chest to give it a little squeeze. You might roll out the right ankle. You might even gently move the right thigh in small or large circles in your hip socket. But let your hands stay interlaced behind the right leg and begin to stretch the left leg long in front of you. Now for the twist. The left hand will hold on to the right thigh, and as you spill the right knee over to the left, let that right arm stretch out to a T, just to find a gentle twist here on the back. Your head might turn towards the right knee, it might turn away, but let those shoulders be heavy on the earth, and for a moment longer, offer it to the breath. Deep breath in, and a longer breath out. On your next inhalation, draw the right leg back through center, tap the right foot down to the floor, and hug the left knee in towards your chest to give it a gentle squeeze. You might make small or large circles with the ankle or foot. You might even move the left thigh gently around in the left hip just to explore what your body does in space. And now stretching the right leg long in front of you. For the twist, let your right hand hold on to the left leg and spill that left leg over to the right as you stretch your left arm out to a T. Take a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. And as you find your next inhalation, draw both those legs back through center. Give your knees a nice gentle squeeze, hugging them in towards your chest. You may make small circles with your knees or your hips. If you'd like to come into happy baby, holding onto the calves or the ankles or the feet, even rocking from side to side, you can do that too. Just take a moment longer to find any final movements or poses or stretches that will really let you become as comfortable as you possibly can. And now here, just for a few moments, we'll find our way into your version of rest, into Shavasana. So I'm just going to stay seated so I can talk to you more clearly, but feel free to dim the lights in the room that you're in. Maybe let your hair down, let your glasses go safely off to the side. Find any pose that can really help you be as comfortable as you possibly can into the earth. And as you close your eyes and soften the jaw, one final time, begin to listen for your breath. Take a deep breath in and down into your belly. And as you exhale, even open your mouth to let it go, to feel yourself get heavier into the earth. Take that once again, big breath in, fill up the belly, fill up the lungs, fill up the chest. And as you open your mouth to let it out, let gravity allow for you to soften into the earth. One more breath, deep belly breath in. At the top of your inhale, try to sniff in an ounce more breath. And open your mouth to let all of it go, to let yourself soften. And now here, as you find that natural, steady cadence of your breath, let every breath that you take allow for you to become heavier into the ground. And it's here even for a moment. The heavier you let yourself become, the lighter and the more spacious you may just begin to feel. For it's here in your time of rest, in your time of stillness, where every action that you took in class, every pose and every breath, it's here where the memory of your muscles and the memory of your being begins to remember. And so this experience you have of yourself now as this breath-filled, luminous being is the version that we get to carry off of our mat into every activity of our daily lives. So just enjoy another moment longer to really be held by that full force of gravity below, to let you become more spacious than before. Begin to slowly deepen your breath, taking a longer breath in and all the way down. And as you exhale, whisper the breath out through every fiber of your being. Take another breath in to fill yourself all the way up. And exhale to whisper every ounce of that breath out. Now you're more than welcome to stay here, draped on the earth for as long as you'd like. But if you'd like to close with a seat, just start to let your breath gently awaken the body that you're in. You may start to roll out your wrists or your ankles. You might begin to stretch your arms and legs away from each other, even wiggling your fingers and toes. But when you're ready, you can meet by bending your knees, bringing your feet on the earth, and stretching one or both of your arms overhead, and rolling over to any side of your choice to coil into yourself. Take a moment or two here on your side, and when the time comes, you can press down through your arms and rise to a tall, comfortable seat just for a moment longer, facing any direction. Wherever you are, for a moment, let the eyes be soft, and take a deep breath in and down into your belly to let it fill you up. And as you exhale, stretch the breath up and beyond every fiber of your being. We'll finish our time here with one another with just one more cycle of that breath. You can place your hands to anywhere that feels like center for you. Take a deep breath in to let it go. You might bow your head to your hands or lift your hands to your head in just a simple yet such sincere gesture of self-reverence, where you bow here to yourself and to each and every person who practiced right alongside with you. And with all of my heart, I bow to every one of you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Be with you. Drink lots of water. Take care of yourselves. And as Claire's been typing into the chat, I'm around for any questions or curiosities that you may have now or later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just want to see if anybody had any questions, but I think that we are okay. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Anisha and to Aisha for joining us today. And that was a super relaxing practice. So thank you so much. I feel very calm, very centered for my day, stepping into a busy work day. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you all for joining. Those that have registered via Eventbrite will receive an email when the recording is available for playback. So I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, and evening. And thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.